What is up, everybody? It is Wick here, and I'm going to talk about the eBay authentication service today. For anyone not familiar, if you sell a pair of shoes, for example, like some high-end Nikes or Jordans, they're automatically sent to an authenticator where they would check the shoes, make sure they're real, make sure they're the condition that you stated, and then ship them to the buyer. Doesn't cost the buyer, it doesn't cost the seller like me anything to have this service. I've heard horrible things about it, but I've used it dozens of times. I've not had any issues until recently, and I'll get into my experience later. I sold a pair of Nike shoes. I can't remember exactly what this pair of shoes was even called. I'll put it on the screen, but they weren't like Jordans or anything high end like that are usually counterfeited or have replicas made of them. I got these shoes at Goodwill for only $10. Had them listed for $110 plus shipping. The buyer sent me a message, asked me if I would take $100 for them. I said, sure. And then from there, of course, they were sent to the authenticators. Now, it's already kind of annoying, in my opinion, when you have to ship it to the authenticators because you're forced to use FedEx, which I don't like shipping shoes FedEx. I don't like shipping FedEx at all, honestly, just because of the overcharges that you get hit with. I've complained about that as well on the channel, but it also causes me to have to go to FedEx. That's one extra place, to have to ship in the morning. And of course, this pair of shoes, I accidentally dropped it off at USPS and had to go back later when I thought about it and have them give me the box back so I could go ship it FedEx. So it's just kind of a hassle. Not a big deal though. That's not what I'm going to be complaining about today. And this is a bit of a rant video and maybe just a heads up video for people, just to be careful when you're listing this stuff to be authenticated. And of course, selling anything like this on eBay, you try your best to make sure it's real, right? But I get the shoes shipped off and everything seems fine. And then I get a message from eBay, notification on my phone saying that the authentication has failed. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. What? Why? So I looked at the notes and it just said, we wanted to let you know that the condition of your item does not match the listing description. As a result, the order cannot be fulfilled. So I'm thinking, doesn't match the description, but they also have some authenticator notes below it. The notes are, the shoe condition is not new as stated in the listing. So this is pretty annoying because just the way you have to list shoes, there's an option for new, there's an option for new with box, there's an option for new without box, and there's an option for new with defects. And then of course there's pre-owned. This being a new pair of shoes without the box, there's no signs of wear on them, right? I feel like my best option is to just sell them as new with defects. And that's what I usually sell shoes like that, where I don't have the box. They've been on a Goodwill shelf, or, I bought them from a garage sale from somebody. They've never been worn. They're just outside of the box, right? To me, this makes the most sense because I do have the option to sell it as new without box, but I decided to sell it new with defects. In the condition notes, I described that, there's no box, there's no tags, there's no sign of wear. And I always put the clause that it's possible that the shoes were tried on at some point. And I'm guessing that's what triggered the not being new, because I guess in eBay's eyes, if the shoes are tried on, they're not considered new, which again is kind of weird because, people try on shoes all the time at shoe stores, and, if they don't like them, they go right back on the shelf and they're sold as new, right? So I sold mine as new with defects, kind of under promise, over deliver type thing. The buyer was really looking forward to getting them. And then they're told, of course, that it failed authenticity and they're coming back to me. And it's already annoying for the customer and the seller, right? Because I have to ship them to Las Vegas so an authenticator can check them. This has taken anywhere from probably 2 to 5 days more than it should. So it's already a delay for the customer. Of course, the customer is getting that peace of mind, but we'll get into more of that later. But after I read that, the first thing I wanted to do was message the buyer and explain to them what was going on. To kind of explain to them how eBay does this, what I think went wrong, because I don't want them to think that, I'm trying to scam them, I'm trying to get one over on them and leave bad feedback or something. So I tell her that I'm sorry, I explained it, and I said, when I get them back, I'll list them as pre-owned, and if you still want to buy them, I'll give you a discount on them. The thing is, she didn't really care if they were used or new. She just wanted the shoes, as long as the pictures matched, and the way that I described them was correct. So now she's waiting even longer because they have to ship the shoes back to me. And by the way, they took 2 weeks to get these shoes back to me. So by the time I got them back, I relisted them $20 cheaper. She just wasn't interested. you can't blame her for that. So it's a bad experience for the customer. It's a bad experience for the seller when this happens. I think there should be an option where if it fails authenticity for the condition, that maybe they contact the buyer and they're like, was you aware of this? Is this okay? Do you still want this item or something like that? But I ended up getting online because I'm like, did this hurt my account? Do I have like a bad mark on eBay now? From what I can tell, no. On the message that I got, they said that we're preparing the item to be sent back to you. Tracking info will be added to your return details shortly, blah, blah, blah. They're going to deduct the buyer's refund from my funds. Of course, that makes sense. But here it says, before listing this item, please update the item details. If you have any similar listings, please check for accuracy and ensure this doesn't happen again. So they're basically giving me the green light to list these again. Now, if they were fake or replicas or something, they probably would have said, do not list these again, right? But since it didn't match the condition, I guess it seems fine from what I could tell. But while I was researching some of this stuff, I started seeing some of the horror stories that people are going through with the authentication service. You got sellers who are admitting selling fake replica Nikes and Jordans, and 90% of them getting through the authentication check. You got people who claim 100% that their shoes were bought from, the Nike website or a store that deals in Nike, and theirs are getting rejected and sent back saying that they're fake. And I tried to find some information. There's not a whole lot about who these people are authenticating these shoes. How much education do they have in this category of like Nike shoes and Louis Vuitton and watches? All that kind of stuff gets checked by the eBay service. If you watch something like Antiques Roadshow and you see some of those people who are the appraisers of antiques and stuff, they have a lot of education. I can just picture eBay, sending someone for a 2-hour computer course or something that they do at home. I don't know how it works. If anyone has any in-depth details, maybe you are watching and you work there or you're an authenticator or something, I would love to know the inner workings of that, because I know places like Goodwill, at least around here, shop Goodwill online where they send stuff to be sold online. If they have Coach shoes or something, they'll have an authenticator authenticate them. Goodwill's authenticator, apparently. Then they print off this like inkjet Microsoft Paint made certificate claiming that, these are real authenticators, check them. I know this because I bought some shoes at Goodwill fairly recently that had those certificates. They never sold on Shop Goodwill, so Shop Goodwill sent them back to the store to be sold on the shelves, and they had those certificates with them. But I feel like to authenticate Nike shoes, which are in the hundreds, Jordans, hundreds, thousands of different pairs of these, and anyone who's done their research, like me, who's bought high-end Jordans before or found them at garage sales, you have to do your own research before you list them, because you want to make sure you're not listing something completely fake. So you end up learning a lot, but every single shoe is different. You have to look up videos and pictures of every different shoe type. And what's crazy, if you start learning about the Jordan replica shoes, some of them are better quality than the real shoes. And there are people who prefer to wear the replicas over the real shoes even. Of course, you can't sell fake replicas, anything like that on eBay. Even if you're stating they're replicas, there are websites out there that sell them. Of course, they're going through all these loopholes and it's still illegal technically. I have 2 or 3 pairs right now of very high-end Nike shoes. Like some of these shoes would sell for upwards to $400 to $600. And I'm not confident enough to list them because of my looking into details where I'm seeing some things that don't add up to what people online are saying. But the point I'm trying to make is it's hard to authenticate stuff without a proper education in this stuff. So I'm sure it's very possible for authenticators to make mistakes, right? And the worst thing is you're not even able to contact eBay. You can't contact an authenticator. It's kind of like what they say goes. You're just getting this item sent back. The buyer who wants the item is not getting it. You're waiting 2 weeks to get your pair of shoes back so you can list them. And I already sold that pair of shoes, actually. They have to go through authentication again. I sold them for $79.99, not to the same person, but someone else bought them. Of course, I relisted them as pre-owned because I didn't want to go through the same issues again, right? But I also don't want eBay to come down on me just for trying to list them as a new with defects again. I don't know what to do next time. Maybe list them as new without box. Maybe not put the clause in there like they might have been tried on, because I've sold new shoes before, new without box. They've been fine going through the authentication, right? So I don't think it's just probably who's looking at it. I sold a $500 pair of Jordans new with defects, and they had the tab on the back that was broken off of one of the shoes just because, you know, they were old and they just start falling apart, right? Even though they were new, and they still passed. So I don't know why these failed being sold as new with defects. There was not one bit of wear on them. I had very clear pictures, you know, showing the condition, every angle, just like always. So it is kind of frustrating. But what's more worrying is just selling this stuff and not knowing if it's going to be sent back to you, if it's going to fail for whatever reason. There's no way to opt out of it. There's no way to not have it shipped FedEx that I could find. Maybe there's some weird setting in eBay. I don't think there's any way for the buyer to even say, I don't want these authenticated. I just want them. I don't want to take the time to wait for them to be authenticated. If there is, somebody can let me know, but you know, I don't buy high-end shoes, so as a seller, I don't know if there's an option you can switch on or off. I think eBay just wants to be the final word. People's like, nope, these are real. We said they were real, or these are fake. We said they're fake. We had a professional look at them. I think the best service eBay could offer is allowing the seller to send photos to an authenticator before they even list the shoes and having them approve it. Because there's already third-party services that do that. You can pay money, send photos, and somebody looks at it and approves it. Again, who are the authenticators, right? What kind of education do they got? I would love to hear some experiences, if bad or good overall, in the comments with the eBay authentication service. If you have anything to add, like I said, I sold dozens of pairs of shoes that have been authenticated, Nikes, Jordans, even some New Balance and stuff. But it's weird. You can sell like $100 pair of Reebok or something, and they don't go through the authentication. Hoka and stuff like that you sell for a lot of money really doesn't. So I don't know how they decide. I guess those shoes aren't counterfeited as much as, say, Nike or Jordan, so they just want those to go through. And it probably gets a lot more people buying on eBay, right? Because everyone's like, eBay is just a bunch of people selling fake stuff. But when eBay has everything checked to be authentic, then all of a sudden people are more likely to buy on eBay and buy their Nike and stuff like that. But if you look online, look on forums, look at people complaining, it's a mess. People are just saying things are faked. And like I said, the sellers admitting to it, just kind of crazy, right? But if you want to take something away from this video, just be careful when you're listing. Make sure the shoes are in perfect new condition. If you're listing them as new, make sure you describe everything the best you can, because yes, condition can get those rejected. I don't know. Maybe it was their first day. Who knows? It's just a bit scary when you don't have any control over choosing this service, and you don't have any say when something is declined. Even if you have proof, there's no way to say, look, I got proof. What are you doing? They'll just say, well, your shoes will be sent back to you, you know, try again. But if you try again and it happens again, and then, you know, you're going to end up getting your account banned. I would imagine for selling like replicas and stuff, if they're being called replicas and they're not, it's kind of a dangerous game, really. That's all I got for you today, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button for me on the way out. I just wanted to bring that to some people's attention. This has been Wick. Till next time.